The first story I read was in a book by Susanna Moody called Life in the Clearings. And she describes how she went to the Kingston Penitentiary, where they used to let people in to view famous criminals, sort of like a zoo. And then she writes the story of the murders. She got most of it wrong. So she got wrong time, wrong place, some of the names are wrong, and she had it all figured out that it was Grace who put him up to it. That was her version. So then time passed. I did write a television play about that in the early 70s. Time passed, and I started writing about her again in the 90s. And this time I went back to the newspapers of the time. I looked really for everything, the records of the penitentiary, the records of the lunatic asylum where she spent some time, letters people had written about her, journalists who had written about her after the time, and I tried to track down information about the other people. There was a Thomas Kinnear buried in the Richmond Hill Cemetery, but he was the wrong Thomas Kinnear. He would have been about 75. Different story if that had been so. But finally found the right one through a friend of mine in Scotland. Got his story. And then I found that there were so many different contradictory stories about Grace Marks. Nobody actually ever knew whether he had killed anybody or not. So 4 people in the house, 2 murdered, within months the 3rd one hanged. She was the one left, and she never told. If I had known the truth, I probably wouldn't have written a book. And if I had known the truth and told it to Sarah, she probably wouldn't have made the movie. So the interesting thing is the way everybody projected onto Grace their ideas, and the fact that she had various stories that she told to different audiences. It always affects the story that you tell to the audiences, does it not?
Yeah? Sarah, how did you, it's been a labor of love to bring this to fruition. How did you actually find out about the novel initially? What led you to the novel?
So when I was a teenager, my agent at the time, Celia Chassos, who's now retired, but is actually here today, Celia gave me the novel and said, you need to option this. And I was an actor at the time, and I'd never considered writing and directing. I said, what would I do with it if I optioned it? And she said, you'll figure it out. So it really was because of Celia this happened. Celia's actually here. Can I ask Celia to just stand up for a second? Because this really happened. And I read the book and I couldn't stop reading it. And I couldn't get to the bottom of it. And it obsessed me and it drove me crazy. And ever since then I've wanted to adopt it into, at first a film, and then it became a miniseries.
Mary, do you want to talk a bit about the challenges of doing it as a miniseries? You've done a lot of features and you know, a lot of television as well, but this is 5, 6. It's a massive project, and I think you're a real period project in a different way than you've done before.
Yeah, I mean, it was so intimidating that I didn't let myself think about it really. It's last my kind of modes, you know, say yes to something and then don't worry until it happens, and then it's happening and it's happening too fast. But it was by far the longest shoot and the most ambitious. But you know, you get halfway through anything and you can see the end. And it was actually, I have to say, a very joyful shoot. Some projects everything goes wrong, but on this, actually everyone worked so incredibly well together and was so really devoted to the cause. They so believe, you know, when the team really believed in something, and we had, of course, you know, fantastic scripts, great source material, and the actors. So no, it was joyful.
Sarah, do you want to talk about, like, I mean, that's a hell of a performance. That's an amazing did you read the novel in advance, or did you just jump in, or did you, what was the prep for it?
I had read Sarah's scripts first, and then when I was cast, I read the novel several times, as everyone kind of gets seduced by the idea of trying to crack Grace. And I would become so wrapped up in that, in prep, that all of this anxiety would start to kind of accumulate inside of me, and I would have to just go for a run because I physically needed to find a way through it. But I think what really helped in terms of finding the character was deciding to do different versions of her, and of course I get to play her from the time she's 15 to now. So it was pretty epic, quite a task.
And since you played her and you probably feel closest to her, you know what happened, right?
I'm so haunted by her.
I think we can open it up to questions. If just raise your hand and wave frantically, and I'll do my best to spot you if anybody's got a question they want to ask, or we can. There we go. Right there.